Hi, all. Welcome to another new comic book day haul. This is not exactly this week's haul, but it's like last 4 weeks. So there's a mixed bag of comics here, and some of them I've read, some of them I haven't yet. But yeah, glad to share it with you. So let's start with DC. To begin with, this is Aquaman by Jeremy Adams. That is a fantastic meta cover. It's but done by Tula Lote. This is an amazing cover. It's just so mesmerizing, and I like the character of Mera. So this is something like everyone should have. And Jeremy Adams writing a new Aquaman book, and I mean, come on, Jeremy Adams is killing it on Green Lantern. So anyone who's a Jeremy Adams fan is a must buy for them. And the next one is Poison Ivy by G. Willow Wilson. That's a Jenny Frisson cover. This is probably my 36th Jenny Frisson Poison Ivy cover or something. But I just can't get enough. It just can't get enough because the art is the line work is so clean and the art is so fascinating and it's Ivy. So why the hell not? Uh, Next we have the New Gods. So this is again Rambi and Evan Cagle, and Evan Cagle with the brilliant art here. They did Dawn Runner together, and Dawn Runner was a fantastic series at Dark Horse. So yeah, it's all Evan Cagle, and his art style is so unique and it's so perfect for like New Gods. And the first issue's cliffhanger was so amazing that I'm very curious to dive into the second issue and see where Rambi takes us. Next, we have a lot of bunch of absolute titles, and I know I like almost all of the absolute titles. Some people are like Absolute Superman is not for me, or Absolute Wonder Woman is not for me. I like all the absolute titles. I think everyone is doing a fantastic job on this. This is Absolute Batman 4, so I haven't read this, but again, Dragota is back, I guess. Is this the one where this is the one where Nick Dragota takes a break. So Nick Dragota is not on the art. I think it's Gabriel Volta who does the art, and this is like an origin story, like an origin issue. It's like one of those standalone issues, like which takes you to the backstory of the character. But still a good book. So yeah. Absolute Superman 3. This is Rafa Sandoval and Jason Aaron. So Jason Aaron is doing a fantastic job on Absolute Superman, and not just with the Earth stuff, but with the Krypton stuff as well. So very curious to see, what the next chapter of Absolute Superman brings us. And the next two books are Absolute Wonder Woman, which is basically Absolute Wonder Woman 3 and Absolute Wonder Woman 4. Again, this is an amazing Ariel Diaz cover, and she looks amazing on it. And this is just the regular cover, and this is again Kelly Thompson, Hayden Sherman, and Jodie Belair. They're killing it on this book. So yeah, curious to check out issues 3 and 4. And that's it for DC. Let's move on to Marvel, where we have Magic issue number 1. I think they haven't done too many like Magic solo series in for quite a while. I mean, she was always there in there's that X Inferno story, which is done by I think Craig Kyle and Chris Yost. That's the only thing that comes to mind when I think of like a Magic solo title. But they're giving her like a mini, I guess. I think this is a mini. And yeah, let's see how long this lasts. But I just had to get it because Magic is one of my favorite mutants, along with X-23. So, and she doesn't get like too much solo outings, and she just has to do it with New Mutants and the regular X-Men people. But this is a Daniel Nakayama cover, so I am uber curious to check this out and hope it's good. And then yeah, something that is really good is Chris Condon and Alessandro Cappuccio on Ultimate Wolverine. Again, this is the Ultimate Universe, and where Wolverine is like the Winter Soldier, and he doesn't remember anything, and he's under the control of the evil Magic and the evil Colossus of this universe, and they send him to do missions, and they send him to eliminate threats and stuff. This is a very good book. I've read this before in digital, and I totally recommend this. Chris Condon is the guy who wrote That Texas Blood and the Enfield Gang Massacre. Those two are like phenomenal books. Now he's getting a lot of more work in the big two. I think he's doing Green Arrow for DC, and he's doing this for Marvel. So uber curious to check this out. And Chris Condon is amazing. So in general, next we have Rogue Savage Land. This is Russell Dauterman cover. That's the reason why I bought it, because I think his art is so gorgeous. But again, somewhere around X-Men 200-ish, they did like 4 issues of Rogue going to Savage Land. and this is like a continuation of that story, and like it gives you more details. And yeah, everybody likes this costume, the Savage Land costume on Rogue. And yeah, I haven't read the original storyline. I just was aware when it happened, but then yeah, I think I have some context in it. But I think by reading this, I should be able to figure out like what I need to read back. And I think it's X-Men somewhere around the 200-ish issues where she goes to Savage Land. It's not in any collected in. I think it's collected in omnibus, but it's not collected in any epic format as of now, to my knowledge, or any trade paperbacks. So anyway, so that's about Marvel. Let's jump on to Image. So from Image Comics, we have G.I. Joe, Energon Universe. It's all Energon Universe as far as I know. So we've got the G.I. Joe, the ongoing title. This is Joshua Williamson and Tom Riley and Jody Belair. Again, they're killing it on this. All of the books of Energon are also super tight. Again, this is Transformer, where, again, this is issue 16 of Transformer, third issue of G.I. Joe's. At some point of time, these guys are going to cross over and intersect. I can't wait for it. And it's going to be awesome. I mean, this guy fights Devastator in the book, and I think that's the starting page where probably he has this big battle against these two big giant robots, like clashing with each other. Yeah, that's the panel. Look at that, man. It is so awesome. I mean, there no like, sometimes I don't have like adjectives for this, but like, this is freaking awesome. He's punching Devastator, so yeah, it's so good. And I thought that once like Jorge Corona takes over the art, and the art will suffer, and we don't have DWJ art anymore. But Jorge Corona has delivered every single issue, and I hope like this creative team stays on this for a long time, because this is like a revitalization of Transformers like I've never seen before. And this continues with like Void Rivals, that's Hot Rod. So and then yeah, more Void Rivals, 2 issues. And yeah, Void Rivals is also amazing, man. Kirkman is doing what Kirkman does best, and which is create like great stories and stuff. Yeah, so uber cool. And then you have this is a new one this week. It's by Rick Remender, and it's called The Seasons. So the book I've been enjoying from Rick Remender as of now is The Sacrificers. That is a brilliant book. If you haven't read it, read it. Most of the Rick Remender stuff, like 90% of his stuff, I like. The only thing I did not like recently was Napalm Lullaby. I just read it, it didn't make any sense to me. I hope that maybe a reread would rekindle my enjoyment of that book. But other than that, everything is done from Deadly Class to Fear Agent to this. I think I have enjoyed. This is called The Seasons. This is a new book. It's about like this family of like 4 girls, and they're named after the seasons, like autumn, summer, and so on. And then I think it's about one of the season, and one of the daughters and her journeys in order to find her sisters or something. So I may be wrong on the plot, but yeah, it's Rick Remender, and kind of like I don't know who the art. Paul Asceta is on the art. I might be butchering that name, but then, and Matthias Lopez is on the he's on the colors and stuff. So yeah, let's see how good this is. And at least for Rick Remender, issue 1 is a must buy for me, so I usually never ignore him. The other things I've bought are like Deadly Tales of Gunslinger. So I read Gunslinger Spawn, the first trade paperback, just yesterday. I have always been fascinated by that character. I did read some of the King Spawn stuff and the Scorched stuff, but then so suddenly like I have this whole fascination of Gunslinger Spawn, and his story is pretty decent. Like those 6 issues in the first trade, they were awesome. And then I'm going to jump onto the second trade. It's Brett Booth on the art. This is Tales of the Gunslinger, so it's like an origin story for him. It's written by not Todd McFarlane, but Jimmy Palmiotti, and the art is by Patrick Reynolds. So I read the first issue of this, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. And I think it's a mini. It's like 4 or 5 issues, but it's Gunslinger Spawn, and I am loving Gunslinger Spawn at the moment. I'm on a high. So yeah. So that is it. But though, is it? So yeah, no, there's some more 80s nostalgia which is coming through. So you got Power Lords. If you ever read comics in the 90s, or even early 90s and late 80s, you would see like the Power Lord action figures ads in your comics. I mean, it's pretty hard to miss. So it's basically, the action figure was like, you turn this guy from his torso, then he becomes another character. And when you turn him around, he becomes like his normal self. So this is again by the Nacelle-verse. So Nacelle acquired rights to all these Biker Mice for Mars and all these 80s toy franchises, couple of them, not the super popular ones, but the less popular ones. And they're doing like Nacelle-verse. I've heard that this is all out action. And so, yeah, I never had a Power Lords action figure, but I always stared at that panel, and it was always fascinating to me that, a toy company made an action figure where you just twist the torso of the guy and he becomes like another character, and you just flip him up. So yeah, I mean, so yeah, I've heard good things about it. I have read the Nacelle-verse issue 0 as they called it. I think that had like a little bit of snippets from all their franchises. They had Sectaurus, they had Biker Mice from Mars, and a couple of other titles. Power Lords is what is Tingles excites me most, and so let's see how good this issue 1 is. And then I've heard that, like I said, I've heard that it's all out action, so hopefully it's good. So yeah, curious to check that out. And then what do we have? Do we have anything else? I'm not sure. Wings of Steel, Silver Hawk, Silver Hawk. So yeah, Silverhawks. So Silverhawk, this is my most anticipated book of this week. This is written by Ed Brisson, and amazing book. So I was a big fan of Silverhawks. I was a big fan of almost all the 80s cartoons, because in the 80s and the early 90s, all I did was Saturday morning cartoon shows, and I watched all of them. And even there was the Cartoon Network stuff where they aired like Power Hour and all of this, where they used to play reruns of these cartoons. So I have seen a lot of Silverhawks. It is a big jam of mine, and it is basically created by the same toy company that created Thundercats. And what they did is it's basically Thundercats in space. So they struck like gold with Thundercats, and they had okay, we can expand this to something else. So they made kind of sort of exactly the same thing in space, but they called it Silverhawks. And Silverhawks is super cool. This is Quicksilver and Steelheart. So basically they're like space cops, and who have augmented their bodies, and they've turned themselves into half cybernetic organism and half human. And all of them have this hawk theme. So Quicksilver, and he's got wings and stuff, and they have corny taglines like "Wing it, let's wing it," and then "Let's go," and Tally Hawk, and everybody's themed after a hawk or an eagle or something. So it is pretty cool. But Ed Brisson, again, he treats this as a science fiction epic, I've heard. And so yeah, super curious to check it out. So I think Dynamite is killing it on all these IPs, all these franchises. So yeah, Space Ghost, they have Space Ghost. They did a very good job with Space Ghost. They have Thundercats, which was okay, which is pretty decent. It's not bang on explosive like Transformers every week on week, but then it's pretty good. It's done by Declan Shalvey, so I'm enjoying that. David Pepose is also, who's the writer of Space Ghost, is also going to do Captain Planet. So I'm uber curious to check that out once that drops. And they're also going to do Speed Racer. So there you go. So again, all these 90s, 80s cartoons are getting they're getting revivals. So so I don't know how much of it is good. They did Johnny Quest. They did a couple of other things. I haven't dived into Johnny Quest because I was not a Johnny Quest guy. I was a Real Adventures Johnny Quest guy. That's a different show altogether. So, but yeah, at some point of time, I have to dig into all these 80s and 90s nostalgia cartoons, because they're there to dominate, and some of it is really fun. And it depends on the creator. Obviously, he's going to take some creative liberties, so it's not exactly going to be the same thing like what we saw as a kid. But hope that Silverhawks does justice to Silverhawks and the characters. And yeah, Tally Hawk, man, this is good. I'm curious to check this out, and I hope out of all these books, this is the best. I really hope so. So Ed Brisson and George Combardias and Ellie Wright, and and yeah, Nick Dragota, you've acquired all these licenses, man. Just don't make it about the covers, but then just hope care about the story too. And I think they have been doing good job with a couple of their titles, like Darkwing Duck is pretty good. So yeah, Curious to check this out, man. Really good, and hopefully my pick of the week. So Silverhawks. All right, that's about it. So in the end, what do we say? We say tally hawk, and I'm off, guys. See you on the next one. Catch you later. Bye bye.